Let's give him another round of applause. Felix Ortiz. Felix has done a fantastic job as an assemblyman. He's been a statewide leader, and he's done an outstanding job with Somos. Let's give him one more round of applause. And Senator Adriano Espaillat for his leadership. Thank you, Adriano, for your leadership. Our colleagues from the Senate and the Assembly who are here today, congratulations. Pleasure to be with you. Two old-time friends of mine, on a personal point of privilege. The Italians are like the Latinos, loyalty matters. Assemblyman Jose Rivera and Senator Martin Delan, it's a pleasure to be with you. Let's give them a round of applause. And I am so excited about Secretary of State Cesar Perales. Where are you, Cesar? Congratulations. Well, my friends, this conference couldn't come at a better time because this was a big, big week for the Hispanic community, for the state of New York. That census data was exciting, 20% growth in just over a decade. New York is #2 in the nation. 1 out of 6 Americans is Hispanic. Isn't that great news? It's great news for New York. It's great news for the nation. This week is also the week that New York State actually passed the budget and actually passed the budget on time. That was... And as Felix said, I'm very excited that New York State government is starting to work once again. A lot of the young people in the room don't remember. But New York State government used to be a formidable force in this nation. A force for good in communities all across this state. And that's what we're trying to rebuild. We're trying to make the government work once again, have confidence in government, have trust in government. And to get to a point when this New York State government speaks, that people actually listen. Passing the budget on time, government performing is part of that. And this government working can do a lot of good for us and can do a lot of good for this state. First of all, the budget we passed sends a message to business that New York is a pro-business state. We want businesses here, we want growth here, we want jobs here, we want opportunity here. What brought people to this state and this country? Opportunity, jobs, and we want them here in New York. I've spent many, many years in government. I've been all over the state. I never had any new immigrant come to me and say, you know what I want, Andrew? I want help with Medicaid. I want help getting welfare. You know what they say they want help with? Get me a job. Let me work. Let me earn. And that's the message we send. But the private sector is not going to do it alone. And this state government has to function, and has to function more than it's functioned before. Because just leaving it to the private sector won't do it. There are certain barriers to entry, certain barriers that immigrants face, that government has to help knock down those obstacles and knock down those barriers. First, while we celebrate all we have done, let us remember we have more to do. And let us remember that discrimination is still alive and well in this state and this nation, and we have to face it every day. Discrimination is not just wrong. It's not just unethical. It's also illegal. And when we see it and when we find it, we have to prosecute it, because there won't be discrimination in the state of New York. As Assemblyman Ortiz was talking about, one of the barriers is a language barrier. When I was Attorney General, we did cases against pharmacy companies where people couldn't even read the prescription on the medicine bottle. Well, this state government isn't much better. When we are finished here over the next 4 years, every state agency will be accessible to languages that New Yorkers speak, because it's their government and it should be accessible. Sometimes people need help starting a business. And we have a program called the Minority Women Business Enterprise Program, which in theory is very good, which in theory introduces businesses and uses government money to start businesses. We're going to take that program. The goal is now 10% of all state money will go to MWBE companies. We're going to double the goal, and we're going to make it 20% of all state money going to MWBE companies. We have to have the best education system on the globe, period. We have to have a better education system than we have today, and we have to preserve affordable housing, especially in the city of New York. The rent stabilization laws are going to expire in just a couple of months. We have to make sure they are extended and preserved. We can't lose any affordable housing, especially in this market. We also have to stop the counterproductive things that this state has been doing. And we took a big step forward this week. We have 20% fewer people in prison cells. And that is good news. But that means let's close down those prisons that we don't need anymore. There's no reason for taxpayers to be paying for them. We announced this week we're going to close 3,700 prison cells all across this state, and we're going to do it this year. We have a juvenile justice system in this state where if a juvenile in the Bronx, in Gustavo Rivera's district, gets into trouble, they take that juvenile and send them basically to a prison facility. They call it a juvenile facility up in the North Country somewhere. You know how much it costs to keep that person in a juvenile justice facility? $250,000 per year. And do you think we're helping that person? The recidivism rate is 90%. A person gets into trouble in their home district. We have community-based services. That's where the support structures are. Let locally based social service, community-based facilities take care of it. It'll be better for the person. It'll be cheaper for the taxpayer. We're going to close those juvenile justice facilities that we don't need, and we're going to send people back home to their own community. New York and the New York government also plays a very important role in terms of immigration. And New York is a leader in immigration. And the voice of New York is very, very important, because we take it for granted here in New York. But there are places in this country where people still aren't sure how they feel about immigration. And some people in some places are afraid when they hear about immigration. And they're afraid that new people are coming, new people are threatening, new people are different. And it scares people. The voice of New York is more important than ever before, because our message is the exact opposite. We have a very special relationship with the Latino community. We have a special relationship with new immigrants from all across the globe. And when they get afraid, we say we feel the exact opposite. Don't you worry about diversity. It's not a weakness, it's a strength. The more people who want to come here, we want the culture, we want the energy, we want the jobs, we want the families, we want the additions to our culture. While other parts of the country, they're building walls and fences, we're pointing to the lady in the harbor who holds the torch and says, we are the beacon of liberty and the beacon of opportunity, and we want immigrants coming to New York. We open our arms wide. And we say, if you want to make New York your home, we want you. Join the family of New York. Work with us, and we'll work with you. And when you do better and you rise, you will raise all of us. We believe that in New York. And that is a message we're going to make loud and clear to the rest of this nation. Thank you, and God bless you.